What up, fam? It's the morning after with Nick and Big J. Welcome to the final day of the week, Big J. It's a Friday. 8th day of November 2024. My name eternally is Nick, and there is Big J right there, kitty corner for me. Hopefully you are having a good day so far, although it's debatable how good can it be, Big J, if you are forced to get up this early every day, huh?
I mean, it's just another day.
Yeah, it is. But, I mean, do you think prolonged happiness can be obtained if you have to arise at such an early hour as you and I do?
Well, I hope so.
How's it going so far?
Pretty good.
All right, maybe I'm the outlier.
What do you need? Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I was having a conversation the other day, and I was talking about, like, you know, how long I've been in this business, and then also how long I've been doing mornings in this business, which as we enter 2025, it'll insanely be my 30th year in radio, which is crazy when I think about it.
No kidding.
But of those 30 years, 25 of them have been doing mornings in some capacity. Here,
yeah, you should be used to it.
For 17, I'm not.
Well,
I don't want to get up as early as I get up, and I have realized, specifically over the last couple years, that I was like, man, I don't think human beings are meant to do this kind of thing. Get up as early as we do. We do because we have to, and I do enjoy the job. I really, really do. But, man, when that alarm goes off, I just want to burn my whole house down.
Oh, your alarm goes off?
It does. It has to, because if it doesn't, you know what happened. And so it is a certain situation where my alarm does go off. I sleep like crap, too. That's part of it, you know? Like, I mean, I was up at 2 o'clock this morning because I know, like, I have to get up in an hour and a half. And I was like, God dang it. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of things that I can do. I tried to, like, behave myself. Like, I put my phone down, like, 2 hours before bedtime. I don't mess around with that kind of stuff. I try to get good sleep, and it doesn't happen.
Well, don't start taking the show so you can get out of this.
No, that's not. Listen, if that could have happened, it would have happened years and years and years ago.
Yeah, I don't even get to my alarm going off.
Yeah.
I wake up before it.
And that's the other thing. Because we get up so early, there's no such thing as sleeping in either. On the days that you can possibly sleep in, your body goes, no.
Yeah, I do. I'll shoot past the time I wake up, and I'll sleep until like 6:30 or 7.
Yeah, but here's my other point. 6:37 is not sleeping in for a majority of the people.
It is when you wake up at 3:30 in the morning.
I get it. I'm saying,
That's 3 extra hours.
Your body has become accustomed to you getting up as crazy early as it can, and I just don't think it's natural. You know what I do?
Natural.
I do think is natural is winning tickets for listening to this show. We'll give you an opportunity to do that a couple of times. We're going to talk Lounge at the End of the Universe. Big couple of shows this weekend. Really awesome comedian coming in talking about the 90s, Big J. That's the focal point of the Comedy Fun at Lounge at the End of the Universe this weekend. Big J's got his song of the week for you to get the blood flowing heading into the weekend, and we promise some other cool things as the show goes on, and then we go ahead and play music too. Holy bleep. Rage Against the Machine kicking things off here on the morning after on the X.
Important stuff. Launch newsfeed. On the morning after with Nick and Big J.
Sad news out of Zoo Boise yesterday, Big J. They announced that Kabita, a 15-year-old female snow leopard, passed away. She was humanely euthanized last week following a gradual decline in her health. She had a cancer diagnosis from early of last year, according to Zoo Boise. And since the diagnosis, the veterinary team worked with outside oncologists and other specialists to help treat her. Despite these efforts, her condition continued to decline, leading the zoo to prioritize her comfort and quality of life moving forward. She's been at Zoo Boise since 2011 when she moved there from Sunset Zoo in Kansas. The zoo said that Kabita will be greatly missed by the staff, volunteers, and guests who connected with her over the years as well. In honor of her memory, Zoo Boise is accepting cards from the public dropped off at the zoo. They will be displayed for staff and guests to honor her legacy over the next several weeks there over at Zoo Boise. So if you want to drop off a card, you certainly can do that, or you can listen to Big J eulogize Kabita right now.
Yeah, rest in peace, Cat. Dang, snow leopard's gone.
And if you would like to do it yourself, thank you, Big J. And a very touching eulogy, as they always are.
I didn't know her.
And so if you want to pay your respects, you certainly can over the course of the next couple days over there at Zoo Boise. Tonight, Big J, on the Blue, a nationally televised football game where your number 12 Boise State Broncos, who are 7-1 currently, 4-0 in the Mountain West, will take on Nevada on the Blue, who are 3-7, currently winless in the Mountain West. Kickoff is going to be at 6 o'clock tonight. You can watch the game on Fox if you're not part of the sold-out crowd that will be at Albertson Stadium tonight. And we get an opportunity for a Big J final score prediction.
Yeah, check this out. You ready? 62-24.
Whoa!
Broncos.
In the 60s, huh?
Yeah, they need to.
Okay.
You got to stomp them. This might be the last time we play Nevada, by the way.
Or at least as a conference opponent.
Or at least at home.
I mean, you could schedule a non-conference game if they want this quote-unquote rivalry to continue. But you're right. They will not be conference foes as one of them stays in the Mountain West, the other one goes to the Pac-12. But we will see how it goes.
Yeah, we need a beatdown.
Not a very good Nevada team, so hopefully Big J's score prediction is correct. But what have we learned about football, Big J? Never underestimate your opponent. You understand me?
That's what I'm hoping isn't happening, and that's why I hope it's 62-24.
I know. That's what you're hoping. I heard your final score. I'm just saying.
I just wanted to reiterate.
I'm talking to all the Bronco football players that are listening right now. Don't get all cocky because Big J thinks you're going to win by 40.
You should still be asleep. Go back to bed. Get your rest. Don't be like Nick.
Well, listen, they could be listening on the podcast, on demand.
All right, I forgot.
While we're doing eulogies, Big J, can we do another one for Elwood Edwards, please?
Oh, man.
He passed away
I got mail.
At 74 years old. He was the iconic voice behind anybody that was jumping on the internet when it first was available to us in the 90s. We all had AOL at some point. And when you logged into AOL, one of the coolest things you ever heard was, and that was Elwood Edwards, the voice of him, and he became synonymous with essentially the early days of the internet. He recorded the phrase on a cassette deck in his living room in 1989
Sounded
for
like it.
$200, and he never received residuals for his voice work from AOL.
Oh, that's crazy.
Despite how huge that phrase got, he saw $200 for that, and that was it.
He died a millionaire.
I agree. He retired in 2014. He had appeared on The Tonight Show where he read several different lines on cue cards before signing off with his two other famous phrases. There were two other ones for AOL, Big J. Can you remember them? When you downloaded something?
Here's the thing. I never had an AOL account.
What?
That was not my first email account, and I finally got up on it when I think there was like a chat thing. I forget what it was.
Instant Messenger.
Instant Messenger. I finally got into that.
But you never, how did you connect to the internet with dial-up?
I don't
know?
I never had an AOL account.
Okay.
So.
Wow. Crazy. I thought that was the way we all did it back when the dial-up was a thing, was AOL or bust. But he also said files done when you were done downloading whatever pornography you were getting off of AOL. And then when you were signing off, he said goodbye. And that were the three phrases that Elwood Edwards are probably most famous for. So rest in peace, sir.
Yeah.
At the age of 74, Big J, your eulogy for Elwood, please.
Rest in peace.
Oh, I just said that.
We spent the whole time eulogizing. I said he should have died a millionaire.
Morning after with Nick and Big J. Yeah, but that's an unofficial eulogy. I like people to get ramped up for it. There's your first round of important stuff. It is the X Rocks. That's a funeral portrait. That is Suffocate City here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Now, it may be the Wisconsinite in me that has a little biased opinion towards this particular story, but, I know you are not a beer fan. You cannot drink it. You're allergic to beer. It's not something that you enjoy or can do.
Never have.
If I grew up in Wisconsin, therefore beer is part of my lifeblood.
DNA.
Yes.
Really?
It comes out of the tap there. When you grow up, it's usually high life, and then you kind of evolve from there into whatever you want. But I have said on multiple occasions, I think there is a perfect beverage that comes out during the summer that I wish was year-round, and that is Leinenkugels Summer Shandy. It's a fantastic beverage. I would drink it all year round if it was available. It's only available like 5 months out of the year here in the Treasure Valley, and that bums me out, but I will purchase it whenever I see it because I do love that beer. And Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin has been the home for Leinenkugels Brewery for a really, really long time. Like, we're talking 1867 is when that brewery opened up.
Man.
It was the oldest continually operating
brewery.
Right
after the Civil War.
In the United States. It was actually around 2 years before they actually incorporated the city of Chippewa Falls, and that was established there in Wisconsin. So it was a huge part of that community and that particular part of the state of Wisconsin. And I'm bummed because they're closing the doors of the original location for good come January. Now, Molson Coors purchased Leinenkugels several years ago, so this is not a new kind of transaction. But what they've decided to announce is it's cheaper for them to move the beer operations for Leinenkugels into their already existing brewery in Milwaukee than it is to keep this kind of exterior kind of brewery running and operating in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. And so they decided to shutter the doors there and move everybody and everything. Nobody's losing a job. That's the good news. Yeah. The bad news is this big part of Chippewa Falls no longer exists. It's all going to happen in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is different and a bummer because Chippewa Falls, I did actually drive through it on my trek back home a couple weeks ago and saw the Leinenkugels Brewery, and it's this old brick building. Like, I mean, it doesn't look like much, but
breweries, all old breweries like that, they all look the same, man.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, in 5 or 6 years after this, the building being abandoned, I'm sure there'll be all kinds of paranormal people there doing, I'm sure it's haunted.
Yeah, the ghost of Jake Leinenkugel, probably. But they are shuttering its doors, and January is when it will make its last batch of beverages. They're in the actual site of the original brewery, and then everything else will be pumped out of Milwaukee going forward. Now, in case you're wondering, that wasn't the only place that Leinenkugels was made. Already, Coors Molson had some operations of some of the beers already operating out of Milwaukee, so it wasn't like this was the only place that was making Leinenkugels. It already kind of knows what it's doing. It's just upping the ante a little bit. But still, when I saw this story yesterday, I was pretty bummed out about it, man.
Yeah.
It was a big part of, driving through Wisconsin. You would see the Leinenkugels Brewery in Chippewa Falls, and it also was a sense of pride over the last several, because Leinenkugels, even growing up, nobody really knew who it was. It was a Wisconsin thing, if that, and it became much, much larger on a national scale over the last 2 decades or so, and it was really nice to see a little brewery from tiny little Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin get some credit.
For a while, we had a good run here of Leinenkugel swag, too.
I have a bunch of it still at my house. Anytime we got anything from Leinenkugels, I'm like, give me some of that. I like Leinenkugels. And I do, and I would still beat their drum, but it did bum me out when I saw this thing was shutting down. But it's going to be okay.
Please eulogize it.
Rest in peace, Leinenkugels, if I may steal a line from Big J.
A lot of eulogizing this morning already.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your Leinenkugels update. We got ourselves Big J's Song of the Week. It's next on the X Rock. 3 Days Grace, I Hate Everything About You here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Every single Friday, Big J selects a song that is supposed to get the blood pumping for the weekend. First, you find out what that song is. Then you find out the why. Big J, what song gets the honors this week?
Some brand new music from Hollywood Undead. It's Hollywood Forever.
All right, enjoy it. Here comes Big J's Song of the Week on the X. Big J keeping it real with his Song of the Week, Hollywood Undead, Hollywood Forever. Why are you picking that song, bro?
Yeah, well, let's see. Good old buddies of ours, Hollywood Undead. We go back several years with those guys. That's a brand new song. They just signed to Sumerian Records, and they brought back the mask, something they had put down for a little bit. So this is something that they're looking forward to getting back out there and doing their thing, and I love that song. We had them for X Fest a couple years ago.
Yes, we did.
Not long after the band and Deuce separated, we had a free X show with Deuce way back in the day. Oh, man, that was crazy.
Yes, it was one of the craziest backstage areas I have ever seen at a free X show was that Deuce show, yes.
I couldn't believe it was even happening at that point. So, but yeah, there we go. I dig that song, so...
Very nice. Yeah. Glad to see them back on the scene. They are very, very good people. Charlie and Danny and the crew are just fun. And listen, they do stuff like that's the kind of like people that I like being around. Because if you remember, like the last time we talked to them, they talked to us before and they played like a Super Troopers game. And they wanted to find, when we were doing an interview, they're like, we want to just see how many times we can mention cocaine in an interview with you guys. And so they just kept dropping cocaine. And they're having fun. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that and having a good time from time to time. And Hollywood Undead certainly knows how to do that for sure. Morning After with Nick and Big J. We got your important stuff, and we're going to hell on the way here on the X.
Man, she a legend.
S. Important stuff.
What's going on in the news today?
The Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Sexual fantasies, Big J. We all have them. Yeah. Not a day goes by where I can't get you to stop you telling me yours. No matter how many times I'm like, Big J, I do not want to hear this again.
Thanks for not reporting me to HR, by the way.
Well, listen, man. I mean, we're friends. But at some point, there is a line that's going to be crossed. I won't tell you when. But
great.
For now, we're cool. But it turns out, would you be surprised, Big J, that a majority of people that say they've lived out their sexual fantasy found it disappointing when it actually came to be?
Well, yeah, it's a fantasy.
Well, I mean, sometimes fantasies do come true, or you're with somebody that's willing to take that leap with you for whatever sexual fantasy you're into. And
that doesn't mean it's going to be great.
No. In your head, when you have a fantasy, it's always great.
Yeah.
It's batting 1,000, baby.
Because you're batting 1,000.
Yeah, but in reality, when reality sinks in and the fantasies start to come to life and you get hot and heavy and then something happens where something goes sideways, it can basically make that fantasy go away. 66% of people that has said they've lived out their sexual fantasy said it failed to live up to expectations. The number one sexual fantasy that is overrated, Big J, getting it on the beach or in the water. That is a fantasy for a lot of people. They see a lot of romantic movies, people rolling around in the sand on the beach, but it gets in every nook and cranny.
Yeah,
I mean, that's no fun. And then, like, if you're in the ocean, I mean, water, it's difficult to get it on in water. People may be not familiar with that, but it is. And then God knows what bites you when you're in the ocean in the middle of the act. So there's all sorts of stuff. The number two, this is where it's going to get weird. The number two fantasy that they say is most overrated is using toothpaste in sensitive areas.
What?
Yes.
Why? I never even heard of that.
Nor have I.
What does toothpaste do?
I don't know. I don't think I want to know.
I'm not going to look it up.
But apparently it is a fantasy that people have done and have tried and said, it really kind of burns a little bit more than you think.
Yeah, it's toothpaste. It's not a lubricant. It's not for cleaning your mouth.
But, like, I mean, listen, I'm not here to kink shame. I just can't see somebody who hopefully brushes their teeth every day, looks at a tube of toothpaste and goes, oh, I know what I want to do with that. And
once you get it out, you can't put it back in the tube, man.
It's tough to get that toothpaste back in the tube, bro. And then the question becomes, is it sanitary to put it back in? Usually the answer is no. And then the number three, Big J, is getting it on in the car. Car romps are overrated as well. They're no fun. And as somebody that has had that happen, I can testify they're not fun. They're very overrated. I don't understand. It was more out of necessity than anything else back in the time when that was on my list. But no thank you. No thank you. Too old and not flexible enough for the car stuff anymore, Big J. You understand?
Yeah, you need like a truck.
Thank you. Flatbed, please. Big J, number 12, Boise State, going to take on Nevada tomorrow night on the Blue. 6 p.m. kickoff. It is nationally televised on Fox. It'll be from Albertson Stadium. The game is already sold out. Big J, your final score prediction again, please.
62-24. We need to smash them.
All right.
They got it coming.
You hold no ill will towards Nevada, but you want them to be crushed, right?
Yeah, no, I hold ill will.
You do.
Yeah.
Still over the Kellen Moore game?
Yeah.
You should be mad at the refs more than
I'm
than
mad
Nevada.
at everybody.
Because that first kick was good, bro.
In particular, their fans.
The NFL trade deadline just passed this week, and a number of players switched teams. Normally, NFL players are now expected to play 17 games, a full team schedule, but because of trades moving around, there are actually 5 players that are going to be on the hook to play 18 games this season and get no bye week because their team already took a week off. Preston Smith, who was traded from the Packers to the Steelers, Zadarius Smith, who went from the Browns to the Lions, Khalil Davis, who went from the Texans to the 49ers, Mike Williams, who went from the Jets to the Steelers, and Jonathan Mingo, who went from the Panthers to the Cowboys, all are on pace to play an extra game, but they will not get any extra money, Big J. That's how this works. So they have to play a game for free, essentially, this year because they got traded. Well, one team did not have a bye, and another team already did.
That's
and
crazy.
So, yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts how that works. 18 games a lot. And then, realistically, we're looking at probably the Lions and the Steelers. Certainly the 49ers, I would argue, and probably not the Cowboys. But all those teams, I would say, are in line to make the playoffs. So those are even additional games that they're going to have to play throughout the season. So the Smiths, Davis, and Williams are going to need some extra time off, I would guess, in the offseason if that's the case. Big J, are you ready for the Culkin-assance? Macaulay Culkin is back in your world in a big part of popular culture.
A new Home Alone movie.
No.
Yeah.
He's too old for that.
Son of Home Alone.
Son of Home Alone. He will have a recurring role in Season 2 of the Prime Video hit series Fallout, based on the popular video game franchise. Details about his character are not yet available, but it's described as a crazy genius type. and it's tough to kind of line this up with the video games because one of the things about Fallout that it did that you maybe didn't think would be successful, but in my opinion, made it a much more watchable and enjoyable show was they didn't take it beat for beat out of the video game. They created this universe in which the video game exists and created some of these characters and some things that you recognize from these games and then made their own original story up around it. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's taking the idea of what the game is about, not for word.
Yeah.
And then creating a world around that, and that's just going to be appealing to the people who love the game to begin with.
I think so, but Fallout is one of those games where it's unique in the way where these games also take place in the universe. There's no reoccurring character that runs a string through, other than the thumbs up dude. That's the only thing that really runs a line throughout all these games. It's not like The Last of Us or like particular games where there's a protagonist that is your hero throughout the game series. It kind of changes up characters and different people and different stories, so it gives you the opportunity to do that. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your important stuff. We're going to go to hell next on the X Rocks.
To light, stories that are incredibly f***ed up. Oh man, we're going to hell.
Won't you join me in my own private hell?
The Morning After with Nick and Big J on 100.3 The X Rocks.
Jacksonville, Florida is where we're going for today's We're Going to Hell story, Big J.
Florida.
The following story takes place almost directly following the Georgia-Florida football game on Saturday there in Jacksonville. And so you can understand that probably a whole lot of adult beverages were consumed in that amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And so as the game was being let out, there were obviously a lot of Florida fans that weren't exactly happy with the results of said game.
Sure.
As Georgia emerged victorious. And probably had a little bit of alcohol in their system as well. Emmanuel Jones among them. Because according to the report that we got from the police, as game attendees were exiting the stadium around 8:30 p.m., police were kind of instructing attendees, directing them to the sidewalk, stay out of the street, etc. They're trying to keep traffic moving. And to make sure people stayed out of the street, multiple officers were forming a line, usually mounted officers on horses. And that include 4 police officers that had their horses in the street. And as Jones walked past the line between the 4 police horses in the street, according to the report, one officer saw Jones get close to the animal, pet him, and then just straight up throw a haymaker and knock the horse in the head with his fist.
What, like that? What? Who was it? What's his name?
Blazing Saddles?
Blazing Saddles.
Mondo in Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
And so
Alex Karras.
Yes, he ends up knocking in the movie. He knocks out in this particular instance. He suddenly saw the horse's head jerk up into the right, so he gave the horse like an uppercut.
Bad idea.
That is when 3 officers grabbed a hold of Jones, who apparently, as they approached him, was still like throwing multiple combinations and shadow boxing around the horse. So he's just setting up combos and knocking the horse around. You understand?
Yeah.
And so that is when the suspect was forced to the ground. He continued to struggle while he was on the ground before being placed into handcuffs. He was charged with a bunch of stuff: disorderly intoxication, endangering property, resisting arrest, and then, of course, the ability to cause harm to a police or fire officer or animal, and all sorts of other charges. The arrest was one of many related to the Florida-Georgia game. Apparently, it was not a great scene in the stadium and outside the stadium after that, and a lot of people were upset. Apparently, there were some officers injured in the fracas as well, but hey, how about we not punch animals in the face, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, don't take out the fact that your team lost on that poor animal. He was hanging out, man, doing his thing.
Yeah, and you're lucky that you didn't get crushed to death by the horse.
Yeah,
that poor horse.
That horse decided to fight back. It would not work out for you. That thing's like all muscle.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Plus,
it would not be a good idea.
If I was the horse officer, I would want a little reprisal on that guy, too.
Oh, I'm not saying he didn't get some.
Well deserved. Don't be punching my horse. Don't punch a man's horse.
That's grounds for fighting, I would say, Big J. You catch some hands if that happens.
Tase the hell out of that dude for no good reason.
Well, it would be a pretty good reason.
Well.
And so he is under arrest and facing multiple charges, but it is a running theme with sporting events in this country where we can't seem to figure out whether we win or lose, we're going to burn something down or we're going to destroy something. It's the way that we are wired, and it's a weird and strange thing to me. I can't wrap my head around that. I don't think I've ever been able to. Like, if you're happy, you should be happy, right? And if you lose, I can understand you being angry, but you're like, listen, I'm so mad we got our ass kicked by Georgia, I'm going to jaw-jack this horse here. Yeah, and then you do it, and then you start shadowboxing the horse, and you're crazy.
Well, I think substance had a little to do with that.
I agree, but, like, I've had a lot of beers. I can't imagine I don't know how drunk I'd have to be before I'm like, I'm going to punch a horse. That's how this night's ending. And I hope I never get that drunk, Big J. There's a line I don't want to cross if that's okay with you.
Touche.
Thank you. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your We're Going to Hell story. It is the X Rocks. That is Theory of a Dead Man. That is RX here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Space travel, nothing new, Big J. It's the plot point of many a science fiction movie, many a television show, and that is we screwed stuff up so bad we need to find a new place to sustain life, a new home for us, as a new home for humanity.
Yeah.
Something else for us to figure out and terraform and take over for ourselves. You understand?
Yeah.
And that search continues, but we may have a new discovery that could lead us to where we want to go, as scientists earlier this week have began examining Uranus, Big J, and discovered information that suggests that there is a moon orbiting the giant planet that may contain enough natural resources to actually support human life. Now, the moon is named Miranda, although to me it feels like more of a Charlotte. It appears to have water hidden below its surface, ready to go. And a bunch of planetary scientists have come forward to call the discovery remarkable and helps build on the story that some of these moons on Uranus may be very interesting. There may be several ocean worlds around one of the most distant planets in our solar system, which is both exciting and bizarre because they haven't discovered this before. Now, a lot more research needs to be done to determine whether there may be life on Uranus itself, but the new findings are described as an important step toward getting there, and Big J call to a time where we can start making Uranus jokes again. And it's been too long, personally, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
It is a forgotten planet. There was a time in the 70s and 80s where if you weren't doing space jokes about Uranus, you weren't trying hard enough. And now we can finally bring it back.
I mean, Johnny Carson got famous probably because of him.
Yeah. And so while sure it's juvenile and silly, but wouldn't it be nice to live in Uranus?
No.
And enjoy life there.
Gross.
Well, I mean, it would be technically the moon, so we wouldn't be living on Uranus proper, but adjacent to Uranus and very close
Miranda's
to it.
Uranus.
Well, no, it's Miranda's.
Uranus
period.
is Miranda?
Yes, Uranus
Miranda
is
writes.
Miranda. And so we would be on there living it up. I don't know how big it is or if it's even possible. We would have to figure out how long it takes to get us there. Then, of course, Big J, we'd have to win the lottery to get on the space shuttles to move out to Miranda, right by Uranus.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going.
And have a good time. You have said on multiple occasions you are not interested in space travel, and I believe that remains regardless of where it may be. Even though, I mean, come on. It's tough to say. Tough to turn down an opportunity to say I live near Uranus, right?
No. It's not tough to say.
All right. Well, there's
ridiculous.
Going to be a lot of people saying it, is my point. Also, like, still crazy to me that we haven't, like, collectively decided to change the name because our maturity level is so low at this point.
Yeah, who thought that was a good idea?
Where
Mr. Uranus? Whoever discovered that and decided to name it that?
We have to maybe make a movement and go, guys. We are collectively not mature enough to have a planet named Uranus. We have to figure out an alternative to call it this. Call it Miranda, for goodness sake. I think anything is better than Uranus at this point. And yes, whatever it may mean or whatever person or thing they may have named it after is lost to time. All we think about when we say Uranus is
Uranus.
Yeah, that's all you think about. I mean, it cannot be helped. And sure, I would like to be more mature than that, but no, I can't.
Clearly you can't.
No. I mean, we're talking about this story just to make a bunch of Uranus jokes, so you're absolutely right. I am part of the problem. Morning After
dragged me into it
with Nick and Big J. Felt good though, right?
No.
We got ourselves some important stuff and some pop culture smackdown. That's next on the X Rocks.
Spanning the globe in search of news. Important stuff.
Launch newsfeed.
On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Big J, scientists in Germany have just completed a decade-long study that gave them findings that you could have told them probably 20, 25 years ago.
Oh?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, you use this as a bar trick for years and years and years.
Oh, God.
But scientists have found that human beings routinely underestimate how flexible they actually are. And they're way more flexible than you think. For instance, the study found that people can bend their wrists further back than they had imagined they could. They also found out far more people are capable of doing the splits than they thought they were able to. They're just scared to try it and to do it because they're worried about the body movement limit, according to the study. But you knew for years that you could do the splits.
Yeah, started in high school.
Yeah. Last time you did the splits, though, Big J.
Well, on purpose? Been a long time.
Yes. Then give me the accident.
No, there was, I slipped and I was almost on the wood floor and it's like, oh, that feels familiar. Ouch.
So you are
saying... It's been
a
while. It's been years.
You're past the point of doing the splits at this point, you think?
Yeah.
You ran that. How did it work? Was it like, I bet you I can do the splits, or hey, Big J, do the splits as part of the party?
Hey, do the splits. Okay.
Yay. And then,
it's, of course, after I'd have a couple drinks, feel limbered up.
Yeah, loosen up the tendons a little bit. And get down there and do a little dance and split it up, right? And these were the the splits where one leg is ahead and one leg is in front and one leg is behind, not like the Van Damme splits, right?
Van Damme. I could get close, but not close enough. I mean, and that's what started it, really, was Van Damme.
Sure.
Way back in the day. And football.
Yeah, you wanted to do some Van Damme of your own.
Yeah.
And mission accomplished, if you don't mind me saying.
Thanks.
Basically, what ends up happening is we underestimate our mobility by about 10 degrees or more, and so you're a little bit more stretchier than you think. That being said, not something you want to be wrong about. You know what I mean? I'd rather err on the side of caution than rip a tendon or snap my wrist in half.
Rip your groin open.
Right. Also, it does not tell me the age group of which these participants were. I'm guessing as we're closer to 50 than we are to 21, we're a little bit less flexible than maybe we have been in years past. Agree or disagree on that?
Agreed.
So I'm not saying everybody needs to go out there and do the splits. I'm just saying maybe you missed your mark, and you could have if you had an opportunity back in the day, as Big J is well aware. Number 12, Boise State taking on Nevada tomorrow night on the Blue on Fox. That kickoff will happen at 6 o'clock. Yes, it's a nationally televised game. Yes, it's a big deal. Yes, it's sold out. And yes, we have a Big J final score prediction, which is
62-24 Broncos.
See if it comes to fruition. Big J was really close last week. Let's see if he nails it on the head this week.
That'd be something.
Only thing stopping the NCAA from expanding the men's tournament beyond 68 teams in college basketball is apparently golf. According to the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, they've been looking at doing something modest when it comes to expanding the amount of teams they allow into the NCAA men's basketball tournament and women's basketball tournament. But they have a limited window because they have a deal with CBS that involves the Masters tournament. And so in order for them to try to expand this, they need more time. But CBS, who has the contract for March Madness, doesn't want to mess with its Masters coverage. And so that has become the problem. So, they can't start until the conference tournaments are over. So there's not a lot of extra days for them to mess around with. And they don't want to mess around with the one weekend it's got a ton of games. And then the next weekend's also got a ton of games. It's a huge amount of eyeballs on the sport. So they're trying to figure out how to log jam more teams and more games into this tournament and not mess around with the Masters because that's what CBS wants them to do. So it's a timing thing more than anything else, which is
Does it
crazy.
Need more games? Does it need more teams?
I don't think so, but what people have learned is the more schools are involved, the more likely people are going to be excited about it, and so
Why
they
have
want
a season? Just have a big tournament once a year.
Well, don't give them any ideas. We may be on the path to that. Big J, they're not done with Star Wars yet, and they're not done with the Skywalker saga either. Lucasfilm has announced a new Star Wars trilogy. It will be written and produced by Simon Kinberg. Big J, how do you feel about that?
Who is that?
Simon Kinberg is probably most famous. Now, first of all, he should get credit for writing most of the Star Wars Rebels series. That's where he is in the Star Wars universe, which is a very good animated series. And I know it's out of your wheelhouse, but it still is very, very good. But in the movie side of things, he's a little bit less successful. He is also responsible. The movie that he most recently wrote and directed was X-Men Dark Phoenix, which is... Yeah, and then he also did, he did help write Days of Future Past, which is a fantastic X-Men movie.
Loved it.
Then he also did Apocalypse, which is another one where you're like, gross, man.
So he's done 2 terrible X-Men movies.
Yeah, and one good one. And one really good one. So there is some hit and miss in the world of Simon Kinberg, but apparently it will be seasons 10 through 12 of the story, so taking place after. What did I say? Stories?
Yeah.
Episodes 10 through 12 of the story which will take place, of course, after the latest trilogy that involved,
So this is the one with Daisy Ridley that they were talking about.
No, I think that's a standalone thing.
What
this
the
one,
hell?
I know.
Whatever.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There is your important stuff. We have got your Pop Culture Smackdown. It's next on the X Rocks.
Pop Culture Smackdown. On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Yeah, we got some tickets for you next week at the Rev Center. We've got Rise Against coming to town. LS Dunes opening up. So we're going to hook somebody up with a pair of tickets here for that show for free. You got to beat me in Pop Culture Smackdown. It's been real easy lately.
We will see how it goes today. 208-287-1003 if you'd like to play a little game called We're going to Have Some Fun with Pop Culture Smackdown. So if you want to do it, that's all you have to do. We got these Rise Against tickets up for grabs for you. Big J, are you ready?
I'm ready, man.
All right, we will see how it goes. Hello, the X.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, man? What's your name?
Mike.
All right, Mike, you're up first. What group released an album called OK Computer back in the year 1997?
Oh, boy, do I got a multiple choice?
No.
At least I know this one.
Okay, Computer.
Considered one of the best albums of the 90s by most
Our
music
next guest
publications.
probably knows.
Yeah, probably. Big 90s guy.
Oh, I don't know, man.
All right, Mike. Wrong. Thank you for playing, sir. We do appreciate you. Hello, the X. Good morning.
Hello.
Hey.
Morning.
What group released the album OK Computer in the year 1997?
No clue. No,
Okay.
I'm not even a guess.
Wrong. Thanks for playing.
In
Appreciate
the
it.
year 1997.
Hello, the X.
Hello.
Hey, what group released the album OK Computer in the year 1997?
Radiohead.
Yes, Radiohead. Right. Is correct. Big
Thanks
J.
for making somebody earn it today, Nick.
You're welcome. What actor narrated the 1995 Sylvester Stallone film Judge Dredd?
Who narrated it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man.
Pops up several times throughout the movie.
Yeah. Christopher Plummer? No.
No.
Because he just passed away, right?
The person that did this?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. That is correct.
What is his initials?
Iconic person. How about that?
I know.
J is the first initial.
Uh-huh.
J is the last initial.
Johnson & Johnson?
Yes, Johnson & Johnson, the baby lotion. Right. Narrated the movie Judge Dredd. The answer is James Earl Jones, Big J. The voice of
that's not who I was
Darth
thinking at all.
Vader. Clearly
Okay.
not. But yes, that is the correct answer of who narrated the Sylvester Stallone film Judge
He
Dredd.
popped up in the movie or just his voice?
Just the voice.
Oh, that's what threw me. Okay.
Narration
my
is that
fault.
the definition of narration. Congratulations, man. You got yourself tickets to Rise
Great.
Against. Hang on
Thanks for
one
that.
second. Well, I mean, what do you
At least I know what narration is, too, now.
Now you do. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Myles Weber's a very funny gentleman. He's going to be at the Lounge at the End of the Universe for 2 shows tomorrow. We're going to learn all about it next on the X Rocks. That is Shepherd of Fire here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Always something happening at the Lounge at the End of the Universe, and we've been looking forward to this weekend for a very long time, as it's awesome to have Myles Weber in the studio. But we're going to talk to Jen Adams from the Lounge at the End of the Universe, and Coral's here as well. Hi, ladies.
I'm gatekeeping Miles' interview. You have to talk to me first to get to him.
But I'm always happy to do that. How are things over at the Lounge, Jen?
They're good. We knocked down some walls. So when you come in on Saturday, you're going to be like, what the? Right? And if you've been with us and coming to the Lounge since its conception, which is now 5.5 years, you already know when we were upstairs with those crazy moving walls, people would come in all the time and I loved it. They'd be like, man, this place always looks completely different every time I'm here. So, again, when you come in, it'll look really different. But we have a bunch of really cool stuff coming up, as we usually do, and we're like into full swing on our season. November is packed with stuff. We'll talk about this Saturday in a second because Myles has flown in from California for the shows. We're super excited to have him. But next weekend, it is the return of male nudity in the lounge.
Finally.
So, yes, the hard bodies are back.
Man.
Yes, hard bodies are back. So that's next Saturday, the 16th, I believe is the date on that one. And we just have one show. It's at 8 o'clock. And you can grab tickets at loungeboise.com for that if you need to see some dudes shaking their stuff, which who doesn't want to? I mean, it just makes you happy. I don't know. It makes me really happy. Gets all the dopamine going, and then there'll be Jello shots. So what's wrong with any of that? Yeah. So definitely come out for that. We also have some other amazing comedians coming up. I'm going to make people go to the website this week.
Love it.
And then we've got Uproar, which was Creatively Improv. So they've rebranded as Uproar Entertainment. All of their holiday shows are coming up. So we have our Thanksgiving show, and then right at the beginning of December, we've got their Harry Potter Christmas, followed by the second Yule Ball. Yeah, the Yule Ball, their Harry Potter Yule Ball last year was a huge success, super fun, floating candles from the ceiling. They went all out. So we're doing that again as well. So go to the website and grab your Cosmic Comedy Pass because it's 6 shows for the price of 4. And those are, I think we maybe have like 18 of them left now. So people have been snagging them. And we have our gift card link back up in case you want to buy stuff for people.
Love it.
Or just for yourself. All of that good stuff. So, and then come see Where There's No Wall because I'm still sore because I swung a hammer on my
tear down a wall.
I did. I tore the wall down. So cool. But we're super excited because Myles Weber is with us today, and he has 2 top 10 dry bar specials out, and he calls himself an exhausted millennial.
Yes, that is a fact. Is there any other kind?
No, there's not.
Yeah.
But it's good to see you, Myles. Thank you for coming in, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Of course. I love to hear origin stories of what made people decide, like, this is something that I wanted to do. I knew comedy was for me. Was there an epiphany, a moment for you where you're like, this is something I really want to chase down?
Wholeheartedly, yes. Yeah. I was 8 years old. I snuck out of bed at night. My parents were watching George Carlin, and I was like, what's that? And they were like, it's too adult. Go to bed. So I went to school the next day, asked my 5th grade teacher. I was just like, hey, there was a dude talking. What was he doing? And she was like, oh, he's a comedian. He gets paid to tell jokes for a living. He's funny like you. And I heard that, and my wheels started turning. I was like, you mean I should have been getting paid this whole time? Like, is my check in the mail? I have been hilarious, lady. And then we had a talent show in 5th grade, and she was just bugging me all year to enter the talent show, do some jokes and some impressions. And I entered, and I won my talent show.
Nice.
I think because I was the only kid who wasn't singing Live La Vida Loca or What a Girl Wants, because of the only 2 approved songs. If you wanted to sing, those were your choices. And so, 3 hours of just adults being made insane in an auditorium full of 10-year-olds butchering the worst 2 songs from 1999.
Yeah.
When a kid came up to do stand-up comedy, they were like, give it to him. He doesn't even need to say words. Yeah, a mom from the PTA threw her bra at me. I was like, oh, this is amazing. But I was also a chubby kid, and I was like, they're not that big.
Nice.
So yes, I've been a comedy nerd ever since.
Nice. And but go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, you've been doing comedy then your entire life, really.
Pretty much, yeah. I was obsessed with it from that moment on, and then a year out of high school, once I was 19, I went to the open mic nearby. It was about 15 minutes from my house at the local comedy club. And I invited 30 of my friends, and I told them, if I'm awful, laugh anyway, tell me afterwards, because I can't stand for this to not work. And I went, and they laughed, and they were like, oh, you were really funny. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I went back the next week without any of my friends and bombed myself back to the Stone Age.
That's pretty standard experience.
But the bomb was the interesting thing to me, because I was just like, oh, I did everything the same as I did last week. But, it's a different puzzle. And that's my favorite thing about stand-up comedy. It's like, it's a puzzle you will never finish putting together, and you will never get the same audience.
Yeah, because
I love that.
Cities are different, audiences are different, jokes are different, the way they play, what they're talking about. So it's always great to kind of, I guess, change up your set from time to time and learn things about what you're doing. But you're damn good at it. You lean into the 90s stuff because you grew up in the 80s. That's something that we all can relate to, of course. And what was it that you're like, this is my sweet spot. This is where I want to be? Well,
I knew that on social media, most of my followers were millennials. So I got to see that breakdown, like, oh, people who follow you, they're like 27 to 44. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's millennials. Okay, right on. And so I grew up in, the 90s. And so I was like, I feel like we haven't revisited the 90s since I love the 90s in the early 2000s. And Like, that was so long ago, Lance Bass was still in the closet. Like, you can go on YouTube and listen to him in that show talk about having a crush on the nerdy girl from 90210. Like, and it's like, Lance, run out of that closet, girl. Come on now. And so,
straight to the moon.
and I feel like everybody that was on that show was like Gen X and above. And so we don't have any millennials going like, I was a kid. I didn't know who O.J. Simpson was. I thought he was the president. Like, he was on TV all the time. I had no concept of this. And my uncle drove a white Ford Bronco. So when that day happened, I thought that my uncle was on the run from the fuzz. So like the perspective of being a kid in these times, you know, and wrestling with what it meant to, you know, be a dare kid and what that means and how that didn't work out, even though it came from certain areas of ideas, you know? So yeah, man, it just made sense. It made sense to revisit it. It made sense for my audience. It was something that when I thought about it, I wrote 20 minutes of jokes immediately. So the excitement and the passion was there on it. So yeah, man, I've been touring around doing a bunch of 90s jokes. And in August, I just filmed a special for it. And we're working with a distributor right now to try and pitch it and sell it to the major streaming platforms. And a couple are interested.
Very nice.
So yeah,
Awesome.
next year you might be able to see it on Netflix or anything, but you can see it live in Boise, Idaho tomorrow night.
Myles Weber joins us in studio at the Lounge at the End of the Universe tomorrow night. LoungeBoise.com is where you can get it for the 2 shows. There's an early show and a late show, whichever better for your schedule. And, you know, there's some things that are generational and some things that aren't, but I feel like sense of humor is definitely one of those things. If you grow up at a certain period in your time, you have a darker or a little bit more sarcastic sense of humor than other people might. And I feel like if you're a millennial, you grow up in that area, you can make those jokes for that particular group, and everybody's on the same wavelength, which is kind of nice to have too.
Wholeheartedly, absolutely. And I can say with full confidence, I ran this 90s set in front of, you know, people who were older, Gen X, boomers, and they loved it. And then my 20-year-old niece watched the special with me a couple weeks ago, and she was laughing the whole time because she's like, no, you explain everything. Yeah. You make it for everybody. So even if you're just like, I don't know if I'll get the references, I promise you, I will explain it to you in a way that is so digestible you will even understand why we had to protect the tags on our Beanie Babies.
It makes sense. It does.
I haven't thought about that in years. So, and the other thing that you're doing is actually encouraging people to sort of like enter the 90s with the show, right?
Yeah,
like, So if people people were gonna dress 90s, like what?
Please do.
I was like living on a yoga ashram in the 90s, so I missed all of that. So
wow.
what do I wear?
I mean, think of like if the 80s and Nirvana had a baby. So we're talking about like some flannel maybe, but also lots of colors and shapes. Yeah. That is a very good 90s thing.
I mean, you remember Barbie, right? With all the pink and the teals and the blues.
Lots of teals.
Bright colors.
Yeah. If you ever drank out of a paper cup in the 90s, just dress like that cup. That's probably... You can all taste it right now, can't you? You can taste that cup.
The Dixie cups.
Exactly.
Yes.
Pick a color or two from that cup and wear those things, and you will bring a fanny pack.
I love it.
Bring a fanny pack. That is another thing.
I was going to borrow my kids' Junko jeans. Does that count?
Yes,
it does count? Okay,
that counts.
Because those are back in.
Yeah,
my
that's the
13-year-old
scary
wears
thing.
Junko jeans and tube tops, and I'm like, are you trying out for the No Doubt cover band? What's happening
Look at what Gen Z and Gen Alpha are really into right now, and just wear that.
Okay,
great. I love that the windbreakers are coming back.
Windbreakers, calf-high socks. They're bringing calf-high socks back. They're just like, oh man, tan lines be damned. I am wearing these calf-high socks.
It's going to be a lot of fun at the Lounge at the End of the Universe tomorrow night. 2 shows. Grab them at loungeboise.com. Check out Myles Weber. And then if you want to, you can certainly check out his comedy specials, which are available.
Yes.
People want to follow you on the socials, Myles. What's the best place to do that?
At Myles Weber Joker. Myles with a Y. Weber 1B. If you don't know how to spell Joker, we probably shouldn't be friends. But Myles Weber Joker on all social media and Myles Funny on Facebook. Follow me. All that fun stuff.
Love it. And definitely go check him out tomorrow night. Loungeboise.com is where you get your tickets, and we certainly encourage you to do that. Thank you, Myles. Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Good to see you guys. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Headlines on the way on the X.
With Nick and Big J.
Headlines are as follows, Big J. Look out. Here we go again. And wait, what?
Here we go again.
South Carolina residents in Yemassee have been advised to lock their doors and to lock their windows, Big J. 43 monkeys have escaped from a nearby facility called Alpha Genesis.
Damn.
This center breeds monkeys for medical testing.
Ooh, it's like Project X, like the real thing, dude. They got the hell out of there.
Now, traps have been set in the area. What are monkey traps, you think, Big J?
Bananas.
So far, none of the monkeys have been recovered. So if people spot any escaped animals, they're asked to contact 911 immediately and refrain from approaching them, according to the police department. But yes, this has a very Planet of the Apes feel to it. Like, these are medically tested on monkeys that eventually want to extract their revenge.
And rightfully.
On the human race, yes.
Yeah, rightfully probably want revenge. And who can blame them?
Yeah, we done them dirty and had them locked up in a place while messing around with medical tests on them. And so how did 43 get out? I don't know.
Now we know how Caesar got a hold of a gun. You know,
if one of them starts talking, Big J, I'm telling you right now, do not leave Middleton. You understand me? It will not take long for them to rally the troops. And you better watch out, because we've seen how this
I did my best to be good to you and your people.
We tried to warn people to do better with you.
Well, you need an ambassador? I'll talk to people for you.
You're an ally of medical tested on monkeys, yes?
Yep.
Look out or wait, what?
Wait, what?
A skating rink worker accidentally froze his daughter's phone in the ice, and it cannot be recovered until the year 2025. Apparently, he left his daughter's bright pink phone on the side of this rink that he was making and then dumped 15,850 gallons of water to make the actual ice rink happen. By the time the phone was discovered, it was completely encased in the ice. The director there said the phone will have to remain there, as digging out the phone would ruin the entire rink. And that would affect the structure of the ice, so it needs to be and remain entombed for the next 2 months. The anonymous worker promised his daughter a new phone if this one doesn't work when it's recovered. Listen, the fact that she can wait that long is a miracle, I would say. You're probably going to have to do something before that. But
I froze my $2,000 kid's phone.
Whoops.
Shoot.
Now, let me ask you this. Does this feel like a bit to you? Does this feel like something that might have been done on purpose?
I mean, kinda, yeah.
I mean, yeah, why does he have his daughter's phone? Why is it near the rink? How did it fall into the rink and get covered in water?
I haven't seen a picture of it. I'm sure it's crystal clear in the ice.
It looks like a phone it looks like Captain America in the ice.
Yeah.
Wrap it up with look out. A Florida family is claiming that their glass oven door exploded, causing some injuries to the family. John Trask says his mother was heating up dinner when the glass oven door shattered. The pieces reportedly cut his mom's leg, and she wasn't even standing anywhere near the oven. He shudders to think what would happen if anybody was standing in front of the oven when it happened. It probably could have been a devastating injury. Trask and his wife purchased the Frigidaire oven back in 2020, and the warranty expired before the incident, but I've never heard of the glass in the oven shattering just from heat and heat alone.
Yeah, I hope to God this wasn't a gas oven. They're already in trouble as it is.
Does not say. It is Florida, so you never know what's going on down there. But I guess it's another thing to be aware of, that apparently your oven doors could just explode on you. That'd be a horrible way to go, wouldn't it?
Sounds unusual, yeah.
I agree. I don't know if it was tampered with or they're trying to get money or something is wrong. It could be a faulty glass thing. Who knows? But it's also 4 years old, so it's not like it's a brand new kind of thing. Maybe wear and tear over time makes that happen. I don't know. But I've never heard of it happening before.
Yeah, me either.
So I won't freak out about it. How about that?
Good idea, dude.
One less thing for me to worry about. I believe in the structural integrity of my oven. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your headlines. You're officially up to date on everything. Your chance to win tickets from us with Bad Impressions next on the X-Ray.
Bad Impressions.
So far, I'm not impressed.
On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Rise Against is happening next Wednesday at the Revolution Concert House and Event Center, and we're going to hook you up with some tickets right now. Absolutely free. LS Dunes opening up. Should be a great show. In order to get these tickets, you're just going to have to solve a few clues of a celebrity that I'm impersonating.
The phone number is 208-287-1003 if you'd like to play the game Bad Impressions. As Big J previously mentioned, he will give you 3 clues. They all revolve around somebody pretty famous. If you can figure out who this famous person is in 3 clues or less, congratulations. It is you that will be going to the Rise Against concert. Big J, are you ready?
Yep.
Prepared? Good to go? To the phones we go. Hello, the X.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. Who's this?
This is Jerry.
All right, Jerry, you're up first. Good luck.
Hey, guys. What did you think of my last movie called The Union with Halle Berry?
It's Mark Wahlberg.
It's on Netflix.
Nice job, Jerry. One and done.
It's called good impressions now.
Well played. Hang
yeah,
on,
there
Jerry.
we go. Top notch, baby.
We'll hook you up with those Rise Against tickets. Clues 2 and 3 for fun.
I like playing real people, like in Patriots Day and Deepwater Horizon. And my brothers and I have a bunch of burger joints called Wahlburgs.
Good job. And why is Mark Wahlberg in the news?
He also has a new restaurant in Vegas called Flecha Cantina. So it's a Mexican restaurant.
Muy bien.
It was going to have its grand opening yesterday, or today, and ribbon cutting, I should say, and a fire broke out on the patio.
No! On the patio?
Yeah, burned the place to the ground. No, it didn't. It didn't. It didn't burn it. It just caused a minor flare up there. And, of course, it makes the world national news.
Because it's Mark Wahlberg's restaurant.
Yeah, so it was promptly extinguished by a fire crew. They fixed up all the damage, and then we're able to still do the ribbon cutting for today.
Okay. So it's going to open as planned.
So, yeah.
Wasn't some crazy fire that caused this whole thing to be delayed or anything like that. All right. That's fine. Will you stop in and visit the...
Probably not.
Okay. You haven't had a Wahlburgers either, right?
I have.
You did?
I have, yeah.
Like an actual one or like their frozen stuff that they have?
No, like an actual one.
Okay. And how was it?
It was good. It's all right.
Would you go back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or are there places that you passed by that were better than
Well, I guess it depends. I don't know. I mean, let's see. If I were going to go Shake Shack or Wahlburgers, I'd probably go to Wahlburgers.
Where did you go to the Wahlburgers?
It was in Mass.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
we were in Massachusetts.
Very nice. Were they omnipresent there because that's where they're from?
Yeah.
They were just everywhere?
Yeah.
Nice.
Did not see any of the Wahlburgers there.
Of course not. No, they got better things to do than serve you food.
Yeah.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your bad impressions. We will wrap up the show here next on the X Rocks. Brand new Breaking Benjamin. That is called Awaken here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Special thank you to the Lounge at the End of the Universe for coming by. It's nice to see Jen and Coral as always. And they brought Myles Weber with them. If you think Myles was very funny, then you are correct. And you can check him out tomorrow night at the Lounge at the End of the Universe for 2 shows. LoungeBoise.com is where you can get your tickets. We gave away tickets to Rise Against for next Wednesday at the Rev Center. We will do that again on Monday, so reasons to tune in. Big J gave you a wake-up song of the week. That was fun with some Hollywood Undead, and we even talked about punching horses, Big J. I would say a pretty decent Friday show.
Yeah.
That leaves you with the floor, sir.
Yeah, I'm excited. I need a makeover, Nick, so I'm going to go get trimmed up today.
A makeover?
I'm feeling like, I don't know, like Grizzly Adams over here.
So what are you gonna go with? You gonna make any special requests? Or
I don't know.
Go with the standard issue?
No, I just say you do your best work.
Gotcha.
Whatever you want to do, just make me look pretty.
Nice.
Again.
So that's today. You're getting your beard trimmed and your hair cut.
Yeah.
Very nice for the winter months.
Yep.
And then you're going to do what would that look this weekend? Anything special?
Rake some leaves. I think
that's hot, dude.
I know, man. We went on a walk last night with the dogs. We're coming home, looking at my front yard, and I'm like, oh my God, the leaves. And then I look like, oh my God, the leaves on the tree still. And I'm like, it's just going to be nonstop until that thing's bare.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of how fall works. Putting the fall in fall, buddy.
Just burn them in the front yard?
I'm pretty sure your whole neighborhood would be perfectly fine with it. No fire pit needed. Just set the whole brush on fire. And we'll see how that does for your weekend. Great to come Monday as well.
I did something.
Next set of X-Rock brought to you by our friends at T Mazda and the Pre-Owned Superstore. If you were looking for a new or used vehicle, hit up T Mazda. As a matter of fact, hit up the website, gotmazda.com. That is where you'll be able to find things like the iPrecheck button that could get you into a vehicle that you love, and you don't have to worry about your credit getting dinged or anything like that. You know what you're pre-approved for before you even step foot on the lot. It's all available for you at gotmazda.com. That is it for us. We will see you guys on Monday. I guess on Tuesday, Big J, officially.
Yeah.
I will be here Monday. We will be back together on Tuesday. Morning After with Nick and Big J. We'll see you then. Jason Drew's up next. It's the X Rocks.
Save 3